Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Bakusha, if you brothers could let me know if you could hear me clearly. I don't want to start the lesson and then, find out later that y'all couldn't hear me. So just let me know if the audio is good. Con, the water. All right. So pretty much we're gonna get into this lesson dealing with if you're not serious about this, okay? And I was um, I was just watching the the intro. The Elder Manat Zakba had done a video um, dealing with Noah's Ark, and I was watching the intro, which is like a TikTok sort of clip going into Noah's Ark and going into how long it took Noah to build that ark. All right, and the things that he went through as he was building that ark, which showed number one the great mercies of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, but also the patience and the seriousness, okay, that it takes to do the work of the Lord. All right, because when you look at Noah, all right, in a time when the things that he was preparing for hadn't happened before, okay, that hadn't happened before in his time. So you warning people, and you know how Jake are, and just people in general. A lot of them are on a very low spiritual level. They cannot believe without seeing. Right? Everybody wants proof, and so they lack that faith. So now imagine you having to tell them, you're building this giant ark, and they're asking. Of course, people are inquisitive. They see you, they're like, "Oh, what you doing?" People that neighbors, whatever. They're looking at you like, "What are you doing? What are you? Why are you building this ark?" All right, and you telling them, "Oh, well, it's about a flood. There's about to be a flood. It's about to rain and all of this," and they're looking at you like, "Bro, well, what are you smoking?" You know what I'm saying? Rain? What rain? The hell is that? Okay, and yet with all that, I'm sure all those years, over 100 years, building an ark, I'm sure people kept making fun of him. Hell, right now, I mean, we in this truth now, we've been warning people of this for years, and our elders and our apostles have been warning them for longer. But even in this short span, you know, sometimes we hope that maybe the next month, based on what's happening now, might be it, but then it doesn't. And then we keep on waiting, and then people use that as ammo to try and to strengthen their incredulity, right? To try and come against us and try and make us feel, doubtful. Oh, you've been saying this for so long. You guys been saying this since 20 this. You guys said this was going to happen this year, and nothing ever happened. Of course, Noah went through that as well. What happened? Where's the rain at? Somebody come back, maybe they see you, they come back a couple months later, and they see you still doing the same thing. Number, like when you really put it into perspective, think about how long a year actually is. Of course, now time moves faster, but like a year, all right, 12 months. And then you think about what, 120 of those, and you're constantly doing the same thing, all right. And people coming in, yeah, how's that art coming? Just to make fun of you. How's that rain coming? I think I felt a little drizzle last night in my bed. Oh wait, no, I didn't. And they do all these things, but it takes a serious mind to go past that and to stay focused and to keep doing the work of the Lord and to believe in something that you have not seen, and yet people are also coming against you as though you're crazy. And not only just people but demons as well. Okay, even yourself. So relating that back to this time that we're in a similar stead, and we're also building that ark because of the things that are about to hit this place, the flood of destruction that's about to come from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. We're building this ark, okay, to protect, Lord willing, we could be delivered in this ark, this spiritual ark, this hedge. And yet people make fun of it, and people who claim to be builders are really tearing down, and they walk without the fear of the Lord because they don't truly understand the nature of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. They don't truly understand that He is a power to be feared. Because if they did, they would think more than twice before they say certain things. Keeping in mind that the Lord is always watching you, and He knows your thoughts and He knows your heart. All right, and the Lord is very serious about his sheep. Okay, so let's start off here in the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And there's a key word, diligently. When you're diligent about something, you're constantly on it. It's what you think about all the time. Like when you have investments in like the stock market, you're diligent in that because you're constantly monitoring the stock. You're constantly watching and studying about it to know more so you can know what to do if something happens. You can know how to trade, when to sell, when to buy, all of these different technicalities. You will have to study these things to truly understand how the stock market works if you're going to invest in it. So you're diligent about that because you have something precious in it, and that's your money. So when it comes to this truth, the Lord said we have to measure the times diligently, okay, as though we had some precious investment and we're constantly watching it to make sure it's good. When you have a mother that gives birth for the first time, she's very diligent about her child, how she takes care of her child. A good mother, that is. All right. She's very diligent. She's, constantly monitoring the child, making sure the child is fed, all of these different things. She's making sure that the child is good. She's almost like the servant of the child. But she's diligent in being a mother because if she's not and she's careless, something bad could happen to her child. So you got to have that same sense of duty and sense of responsibility when it comes to measuring the times. All right, measuring the times. Your focus needs to be in this truth. You need to be aware of the prophecies and you need to be aware of current events. You need to have some system of being able to keep up with what's going on in the world. Whether it's you read these articles or you watch the news or you do these things, okay, to make sure that you're in the loop so that when things pop off, if you're already aware of what prophecies are left, understanding what the prophecies actually are, like one of the main ones being the digital all right, the charagma, you got to number one know what it is so that you can look out for it. All right. And as it gets closer to the charagma being implemented, it's gonna look more and more like it because it's leading to it. But you can't be hasty and jump to conclusions. You got to wait upon the word of the Lord because when the word of the Lord happens, when prophecy gets fulfilled, we will know that prophecy is being fulfilled. There will be no doubt about it. There will be no question about it. Scoffers will not have anything to say. Okay, so you got people that are saying that this Vanessa is the mark. It's not the actual mark itself, but it's leading to it, and that's why it's so similar. Okay, so it says here, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou well understand, or then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time. Let me let this pass. That it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we know what are some of the signs to look out for. Well, they're written all throughout the scriptures, whether in the Old Testament or in the New Testament. The signs are the things that are leading up to these prophecies. Yahweh Shai's return is a prophecy. So when you read Matthew 24 and Luke 21, he gives us signs. He explicitly tells us, all right, when the disciples asked him, they asked for signs, and he explicitly gave them signs. Okay, about the chaos in the world, the love of many waxing cold, the nations rising against nations, the wars and rumors of wars. All these are happening now. The earthquakes in diverse places, famines, pestilence. These are signs that we are to look out for. Now, how will we know if there's earthquake in China or in Indonesia or in Japan somewhere? Through the internet. That's why the Lord had them set it up. Okay, because we can't fly over to Japan. But the way the Lord has set it up, news travels fast now. In a matter of seconds, when something hits, we're able to be aware of it. Okay, so meaning that we got to be on top of it. So when we see these things, we know that what the time of the Most High beginning to visit the world is close. And how is He going to visit the world? He's going to visit the world with destruction. When you look up the day of the Lord in the Bible, if not all, 90% of them are pertaining to destruction, to darkness, to gloominess, to death, to pain, to suffering. If you just do a word search of the day of the Lord or day of the Lord, you'll see scriptures like Amos, scriptures like Isaiah. You see vengeance, you'll see death, you'll see destruction. That's what you'll see when that are linked to the term the day of the Lord. So when it says that's the same time when the Lord is going to visit the world which He made, that means that that's the same time when this world is going to be destroyed. And when I say this world, I'm talking about this age, this rule, okay, this eon. All right, because when you go back, let's go to the book of Second Ezra, chapter 6, and let's start at verse 7. It says, "Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times?" And when you part something asunder, you separate it. Okay, so what's going to separate the times? What's going to divide the end from the beginning? And it says here, because usually you had something happen that would be used to mark the separation of a rule. Like you have the Dark Ages, which is sort of like the separation of when the Edomites rule, when they ruled for a while, and then Jay came up in there and quote unquote interrupted their rule, is known as the Dark Ages. And then the Esau came back into power. Okay, so you always have different events, whether it's a known war or a major catastrophe, or some world event that happens that marks the separation of the way the world was before this thing happened to the way the world is after this thing has happened. So Ezra was asking, well, what is going to be, all right, the departing asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So when you go to the book of Revelation, the 21st chapter, and then it talks about John said he saw a new heaven and a new earth. All right, that's the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, because matter of fact, let's go to it. Right now, there is an earth, there is a heaven. Okay, there is a rulership right now. There is a condition that the earth is in right now. But when John saw a new heaven and a new earth, that was the beginning. All right, because as we read in Revelation 21, it mentions the former things are passed away. And the former things are the way the world was before. Okay, and what's going to be the main parting asunder of the old world from the new world? Well, back in the ancient world, it was the flood, and in this time, it's going to be the second death, which is going to come through Jacob's trouble. So Jacob's trouble is really going to be the ultimate parting asunder, because in Jacob's trouble consists of the destruction, all right, and at the end, the return of Yahushua. So this is Revelation 21, verse 1. It says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth." And I believe the Greek word for new is kainos, which means a refreshed. Not that the earth is going to be like a new planet, but it's going to be like a new planet, but it's not going to be a new planet. It's going to be the same planet Earth, but it's going to be so refreshed and rejuvenated that it's going to look brand new. Okay? And so it says, I saw a new heaven, also heaven representing a new rulership. Okay, a new state of authority, and that's going to be the government of Israel, pursuant to Isaiah the second chapter. The mountain of the Lord's government is going to be above all the rest of these mountains, meaning all of the rest of these governments, and that's why Yahushai had that crown. He had many crowns upon his head because he when he came, he took down all of these governments. All right, and shalom to all you tuning in. Yahweh Shem Shai Barakatham. So Revelation 21 says, "For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away." See, so as we read, Ezra was looking at for the sign of what? Let's go back to Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? All right. So as we're reading here in the book of Revelation 21, John says, why did he see a new heaven and a new earth, which is likened unto the beginning that followeth? Because what? The first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And the first heaven and the first earth, and it represents Esau's age now. Okay, so let's keep going in Revelation 21. It says, "And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." Now, the holy city, New Jerusalem, first off, Jerusalem itself right now is being defiled by these bastards, by these heathens, by the worst of these heathens. Okay? So what John saw wasn't an actual city. He didn't see the actual city of Jerusalem, or it doesn't mean that the actual city of Jerusalem is going to come down from heaven. Okay? Because as it says here, and I John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. The holy city, New Jerusalem, in here, it starts with the Lord's elect. Okay? Because the kingdom starts with the people. The people make the kingdom. All right. Why is America Esau's kingdom? Because Esau is ruling it. Esau is here. Okay. So the people make the kingdom. The reason the Grecian Empire was the way is known as the way it is now is because of the Edomites. Now they could have been ruling in, uh, uh um, you know, in like freaking China somewhere, and it would have still been known as whatever empire it was, because it's not based on the landmass; it's based on the people. The people make the kingdom. Okay, a kingdom is known by its people. So this right here, the new city, Jerusalem, is talking about the elect, because they're the ones that are gonna come down from God out of heaven. And what is that God out of heaven? Is going to be the chariot. Because now, why are the elect are going to be coming down from a chariot? Because they're going to need to get beamed up there first in the first place. All right, that's going to be that ark. Because after we build the ark, we got to go into the ark. We're not going to build the ark. Well, I mean, you better hope that you're not one of those who builds the ark and get left out. All right. So we're gonna build the ark, and Lord willing, get beamed up into the ark. And then when the indignation be passed, we're gonna come down out of the ark, and we're gonna conquer this place. So when you read these verses, don't think of it as just knowing what the breakdown is. You actually have to envision it, because it's gonna happen. You actually have to understand that we're gonna be changed, and we're gonna be coming down from a giant chariot and physically confronting these world powers and putting everybody, the whole planet, under subjection onto the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And we're going to have spiritual power to do so. So we're going to be able to read minds. If we come to a certain area and they try to be slick about something, we're going to know before they even, can come up with a plan to even think anything. Okay? Because we're going to be gods. Now, this is the book of Isaiah 26 and 20. And it says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, which are those chariots, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, hide thyself as it were, um, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." So what's that indignation? The thermonuclear fire, the missiles, all right, and the lasers from the chariots. That's going to be the Lord's indignation, and he's going to use it to destroy this land. So that's why we're going to need to be hidden. We're going to need to go up into that chariot. We're going to need to get beamed up to be hidden from this indignation. But as it says, as it were a little moment, until the indignation be past. Verse 21, "For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth." So everything that you see going on the face of the planet Earth right now is going to have consequences. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to punish the wicked of this world. And those that are not down with him, those that are not of his elect, are going to be punished through the things that are happening before he returns, and also the things that are going to happen to them when he returns. Number one on the list is Esau Edom. They're going to be punished severely. It says here, "To punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, the earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." All right, so all those dead bodies, they're going to come back up, because when you go to the book of uh, Revelation, it mentions, I believe it might be the 20th or the 20th, yeah, I think the 20th chapter. It talks about the earth and the sea giving up the dead. All right. So you will have certain people that are going to be brought back and they're going to receive judgments. Okay, so it's going to be a hell of a time, man. Yeah, it's going to be one hell of a time, because it's not impossible for the Lord to put back the specific elements that made up your body. He can just instantly do that, raise up a body that you used to have, and put your spirit back in it, and bring you back on the earth. There's certain videos of like newborn babies, and and you look at their face, they look angry. These newborn babies look pissed off. They got the mean, like they mean mugging you. They're looking like this, and then you call them, and they just ignoring you. And then they finally turn at you like, they look up and down at you. Newborn baby in swaddling clothes and all of that. And they looking at you like, hell you want, nigga. You know? Why? Because they're pissed off. Them babies like, yo, shit, I was hoping I'd stay in the spirit world till after this be passed. The Lord's like, no, you got to come back down. You got to come get your judgment. All right, so as we read in Isaiah 26, that indignation is going to be the reason we're going to need to go up in the first place. And after a while, we're going to come down. So that's what John is seeing here is us coming down. All right. It says, I, John, saw the Revelation 21 and 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So how are we going to be prepared? When a bride is adorned for her husband, she's made to look the most beautiful she can look for her husband. So when we go up, like now they'll put the white dress, the veil, they'll make her look good, make her smell good, so she looks presentable. Well, for us, that is going to be the putting on or the putting off of the mortal clothing and the putting on of the immortal clothing. As the scriptures say, we're going to be beautified. The Lord said, He was going to beautify the meek with salvation. So we're going to wear salvation as clothes, and we're going to be clothed with those new bodies, aka we're going to be a bride that's adorned. We're going to be in our perfect state when we go up into those chariots. Our bodies are going to be perfect down to the molecular level. The tiniest, the smallest level of data or information or DNA about us is going to be perfect. There's nothing that's going to be wrong or messed up or faulty about us. Everything is going to be perfect. The way we breathe is going to be perfect. The way we think is going to be perfect. The way we look is going to be perfect. And yet we're not going to be clones. We're all going to look different. So we're going to be perfect in our own way because all of us have different spirits. We're all in one body, but in one mind, but we still have different spirits. We all have different tastes. All right. So each of our glories is going to be, in a sense, tailored to us. All right. And nobody's going to be envious of another. No brother's going to envy another brother. You're not going to envy another man for his position. You're not going to envy him for his woman. You're not going to have any of those desires. Think about it, right? If you um if you are a grown ass individual, or maybe I'm gonna use the reverse. Maybe you're a woman, grown woman, right? And you are maybe a second grade teacher. Now, in this second grade class that you're in, you see this little boy and this little girl, and they like each other, right? You think you're gonna look at that little girl and be jealous because you want her little boy man? That you think that's what you? No, you're not. As a grown ass woman, you the last thing you're thinking about, is taking that little boy away from that little girl. Why the hell would you want her? The same way you can't see yourself as a grown woman trying to deal with that little girl's man, I guess her little boy. You ain't gonna want to deal with another man's woman. It's gonna, you ain't gonna want to deal with your sister. You ain't gonna want to deal with your mother. And so we're gonna be perfect. We're not gonna have wicked thoughts. We're not gonna need to um, suppress wicked thoughts because we're not gonna get wicked thoughts. Everything we think is gonna be righteous. Everything we do is gonna be righteous. But just because something is righteous doesn't mean it's gonna be boring or it's not gonna be fun. No, it's gonna be fun. All right. Right. People think of righteousness as like some dull, like some dull, bland, rules, and you can't do shit. No, man. We're gonna be lit. All right, we're gonna bring the definition of lit, because in order to be truly lit, you got to be righteous, so you can be lit without consequences. All right. So it says here, um, going back to Revelation 21, prepared as a Revelation 21 and 2, continuing. It says, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men. And now you got to understand, this ceremony is only going to be for the elect. So if you're not serious about this thing, you're not going to make it to the marriage. You ain't going to be dressed, all right, the first go around. You're not going to make it to that marriage. You're not going to be able to go up into that chariot, and be a part of that congregation, because that's going to happen once for all eternity. And it's gonna be an ultimate event that if you miss, you miss, because you're gonna be in the spirit world, because you're gonna need to be brought back, be born again through the loins of the elect. All right. So if you're not serious now while you have the opportunity, you're gonna miss this opportunity, and instead of salvation, you're gonna get destruction. You're gonna get pain, especially if you're on the soils of America, because here is where the 2/3 and the 1/3 apply on the soils of America. So if you are on the soils of America, the scriptures explicitly say that the two parts are going to be cut off and die. So if you are on the soils of America and you know you an Israelite, you better be on your A game, because if you're not a part of the 1/3, you're gonna die. And it's not just about dying; it's about how you die. Okay, because you're gonna be judged for all the wickedness that you've done. Because if you are not of the elect, your sins, the Lord is not gonna pardon. He's not gonna punish you in measure. He's gonna punish you in wrath, in His hot displeasure. And that's a scary thing, man. So not only are you gonna miss out on that first reward, but you're also gonna get judgment in its stead. It says here, verse 3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men. All right, is with men, and He will dwell with them, and they shall be His people, and God Himself shall be with them and be their power. So when we get into the kingdom, when the Lord renews us and makes us perfect, the Lord is not going to have any problem drawing near unto us and being close to us again. All right. Because the Lord, even though He's having mercy on us, He's still not, the Most High Himself is still at a distance. Okay. He's still at a distance. And it isn't until we're made perfect again, because the Most High is so righteous, He cannot behold iniquity. And though we're trying to be righteous, we still go off. All right. It's by the blood of Yahweh Shai that we're able to gain that little mercy that we gain. Well, I shouldn't even say little mercy, because it's a lot of mercy. But the mercy that we gain, pursuant to Psalms, it says, blessed is the man in whom the Most High imputeth not iniquity. But in the kingdom, the Lord is going to give us a clean slate. Though our sins be as crimson, they shall be white as snow. And the Lord is not going to have any problem being nigh unto us. All right. As the scriptures say, what people have the Most High so nigh unto them as these people? We're going to go back to that. The world is going to know us and esteem us as the sons of God, and we're going to get our righteous, rightful estate back again. Verse 4, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things that are passed away. Now, pain isn't something that anybody you don't willingly want to go and feel pain. Sometimes pain just comes out of nowhere, depending on what it is. And some pain you can't take pain medication for. Some pains come from vexation. Some pains come from demons. Some pains come from just, BS that goes on in this world. And some you can't do anything but wait, meaning you have to suffer through it. Okay? And all these things the Lord said is going to be done away with. We're not going to feel pain anymore. All right, we're not going to suffer anymore. We're not going to have to go through the hell that we go through now anymore. These are going to be, that's why Ezra was asking about the parting asunder. The pain and the death and the sorrow, these are things that we've constantly been experiencing, but that's because we're still in this old world. And along with the new world comes the completion of the new covenant. All right. It says here, for the former things are passed away, and he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. All right. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. So that's why we put our all into this thing. Today is September 6th, and um, I forgot the date. I think it was September 13th. Yeah, I believe it's September 13th, which is about a week from now. They're gonna start, going all in with their mandates. You know, going through September, and they're saying they want these boosters, but I think they said they're gonna have a meeting on September 17th. But now they're saying that Israel said they're gonna come and discuss with the U.S. and give them data to basically calm the nerves of these officials who are saying that it's not time for a booster and that it's being rushed. So they're gonna get data from Israel to, in essence, back up what they're saying. That no, you should go ahead with these boosters. And there's a reason they're moving so fast and they're rushing it, pursuant to Revelation 12 and 12, because they don't have much time. They're on a tight schedule. All right, and these elites are on their ass, and Satan is on these elites' ass, because the Most High is on Satan's ass. So everything is moving in from a chain of command role. So that's why they're trying to move so fast. But one thing about moving so fast is you get clumsy. All right, and when you get clumsy, your plan starts to fall apart, especially when the Most High says that the deceived and the deceiver are His. All right. So the net that you have set, the trap that you have set, you're gonna fall into it, and your plans are gonna come to naught. And because of that, you're gonna try to use force. They're gonna try to use the sword. The one main stronghold that's left for these devils is America, and the one thing standing in their way is that Constitution. And what they want to do is completely disannul that Constitution. And if they can get a chance to suspend it at least once, they will make sure that there's hell on such a high level that you cannot regain your constitutional rights ever again. And it's going to be one and done. They're just waiting for the perfect opportunity, all right, to be able to institute that, all right, and get you people, man. So what they do is they want to bait you. They want to bait you to the point where you're going to do something, because the average individual is shy. The average individual doesn't like confrontation. The average individual, that's why I say average, doesn't like to just go up and just do shit. Some of these people consider themselves good people. Some of these people in their minds, they haven't done anything wrong. They can't do any wickedness. The worst they'll get is into an argument. So how do you get these people to go crazy and kill each other and burn buildings and shoot up, get into shootouts and do things that they never thought, become complete savages? You need to push them to that point, because it's not like they can't. They can, but you have to bring it out of them. So how do you do that? You got to starve them. You have to block off anything that keeps them sane, right? Because a lot of people now have things to lose. Somebody who's working a job and has children or has a wife or whatever has to think. Even if they want to punch this person in the face, they might need to think and say, I don't want to go to jail, because who's going to take care of my family? But when you take away their family and you take away their job and you take away their food and you take away everything, and they have nothing left to lose, guess what? That's when they're on the brink of insanity. And when you put them on that brink, it just takes the slightest thing to ignite the fire. And fire is contagious. Just like rage is contagious. Just like anger is contagious. Just like desperation is contagious. And these devils are gonna play on that and get these people to go into a crazed rampage and start wilding out and start killing each other and start going against the government and going against each other. That's why they're creating this division, and that's why they're pouring gasoline on it, and that's why they're fanning the flames of this fire. But they're doing it so slowly that as they do it, they distract you. As they do it, they tell you, look here. They do it, they tell you, look here. So you don't see that they're the ones actually fanning the flames. All right. So, like we keep saying, man, we're going to watch and see. But this isn't one of those things that you just come back from. You're seeing what they're doing in these other countries, meaning this is a world effort. So they're not going to stop. But one thing you don't play with is people's food and their money. All right. Especially these Americans, man. They love to eat. They love to eat, man. And when they don't get their food, they look at what happened over this what do they call that thing, man? The Popeyes chicken sandwich or so. That thing came on, people started bugging out. There's a TV show called The Boondocks, and there was an episode in there where they had the fried chicken flu. Basically, this new fried chicken came out, and everybody was on it, and I mean everybody. They car accidents, people fighting over it. And when they got to the store, and they said there was no more chicken, those people turned into animals, man, crazed animals. And you had people that were sick from the chicken, and you had a dude in when you in the hospital and they got the drip in you, and they got the little stand, and then they put you in the hospital robe with the back loose. And my man is out the hospital at the store. His eyes are all dark. He's sick, holding his stick, and he's out here trying to buy some more of the chicken that made him sick. You know. But these people will go to extreme lengths to get their food, to get their medication. All right. So when they can't get it, they look at you like they finna hurt you. You know, if you think that you're gonna have these store employees deter these people from getting their food, those employees are gonna quit because they're gonna stand there. They're gonna say, "Look, man, the way that dude just looked at me, my life is in danger. I ain't risking my life for this. You could come right in, sir." So what are they gonna need to do? They're gonna need to set up law enforcement. If you've been noticing, there's a lot of police cars everywhere. There's a lot of police officers in every corner, every nook, every cranny, and they're getting you used and desensitized to seeing troops, police, heavy artillery, everywhere. National Guard. So they're gonna start setting up. They're gonna have to start setting up these stations and setting up troops in these various malls and these various stores. And they're gonna need to set up a system of scanning in or checking in whether somebody has their Vanessa or not, or their pass or not, because they need to check if you're good before you could come into the store, and they need to keep into consideration what happens if somebody's not good, but they want to force their way into the store. So we need a way to enforce this, and in the word enforce, you have the word force. Okay, so um, keep going. It says here, oh Salaki, let me go back to Second Ezra 9. Or really Second Ezra 6, as we were dealing with, all right, the parting asunder of the times. So verse 8, Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 8 says, "And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's son, or Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." So we just read about the beginning. We just read about the new heaven and the new earth. We just read about the renewed and the refreshness and Jerusalem coming down from heaven. That's the beginning. And that's going to be the beginning of the rule, the everlasting rule of Jacob. And it's going to start with Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And you're going to have King David under that on his throne, and the rest of the elect of the 144, and then the rest of the elect in their proper order. Okay? Because there is such a thing as order. And the Most High created order. So if you got a problem with order, you take it up with Yahweh himself and see how well you last. All right. So it says, verse, and so Esau being the end of the world, well, how is this world going to go out? It's going to go out in utter and chaotic destruction. And ultimately, it's going to end with thermonuclear missiles hitting. If a bomb went off 2 blocks from where you live, you'd feel the impact of that. How much more for nuclear warheads? Constantly. It's gonna be, and now we say it so much we're like desensitized to hearing it, but it's gonna be a hell of a day, man. Verse 10, it says, the hand, it says the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the other, or and the hand, other question Ezra asked thou not. So there were certain questions that Ezra wanted to ask, but the angel told him not to ask, because just like there were certain things that was revealed to the apostle John on the Isle of Patmos, and he was told not to write these things. There are certain things that are not for us to know. They're not to be disclosed. All right. But these certain men, it was given to them, so they knew these things, but the Lord didn't want it to be disclosed. All right. And in this case, the Lord, Ezra wasn't supposed to know that. All right. So now let's continue back in Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, did Yahweh Shai not also prophesy about this? Because when one people stand up to fight against another, and when a kingdom against a kingdom, that's uproars. That's people uprising, pursuant to Second Ezra 15 as well. So the angel is telling Ezra, when you see earthquakes and it says when you see earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, if you go and look up right now, majority of countries across the world are having uproars of the people. And what are they uproaring? The same thing, which is these lockdowns and these measures. Greece, I believe UK, France, Italy, uh, uh, um, Australia. They got them in a chokehold, But a lot of these places are having uproars, okay, over one reason or another, and soon it's gonna hit this place. The reason it hasn't hit this place is because it's like a standoff, you know. They haven't drawn theirs yet, so the people haven't drawn theirs yet, and the people are getting ready. And right now, people are in that mindset of they know what they're gonna have to do, but they don't want to confront the thought yet because the action hasn't come. They haven't been approached with this. So even though they know they will be approached and they know that they will have to do something, they want to just wait a bit and enjoy their little false sense of peace. But when it comes down to where they put the squeeze on them, these people are actually going to they're going to fight back because they're going to be pushed into a corner. See, until you're in the corner, you're still going to be taking that step back. You're going to take one step, you're going to take two steps. You're going to know that in less than a couple steps, your back is going to be against the wall, but you still take those steps. So that's where people are at in the US right now. That's why they're not rioting full force. But when they get to the point where their back is actually physically against the wall, they're going to push back because the Lord is going to put that spirit on them to push back. All right, it says here, verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So that's what? Prophecy. That's why we believe prophecy, because we're seeing these signs. And what is it doing? It's confirming that the Most High spake of these things that we're seeing before they happened. That's how we knew they would happen before they happened. Amos 3 and 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophet, or the prophets. Verse 5. For like as all things, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, right? If what do you look at that doesn't have a beginning and an end other than the Most High himself? Even Yahweh Shai had a beginning. Now Yahweh Shai doesn't have an end because soon we're not going to have an end. But the natural cycle of life as we know it now is life and death. All right, that means what? Beginning and end. When you're born, you start. When you die, you end. Okay, and you have growth in between. Okay, when you anything you do, you start something, you finish something. You start talking, you finish talking. You go to sleep, you wake up. You start eating, you finish eating. You start thinking, you finish thinking. So everything has a start and a stop if you think about it. And that's certain concepts when you actually think about it, you're like, damn, that's actually true, but that's deep. Everything has a start and a finish. Everything. Because you can't do something without starting it. And you can't stop doing something without finishing it. You know? Think about that. You're like, wow, the most high, man, he created, man, concepts. Just concepts are out there, man. And when we get those new bodies, we'll understand the fullness of these things. You know, we'll be able to see things on a physical level, on a molecular level, on a atomic level. All right, we'll be able to see things. Super far ahead. We'll be able to see things with our mind. Imagine being able to see something without looking at it. Being able to just listen and be able to see what's happening with just listening. We're gonna do things that we can't even think about doing right now. See, right now, the main things that we think we can do is because in one way or another we've heard about it, right? Flying. The reason we think about flying when we get those new bodies is because we know what flying is. But what about the things we don't know? What about superpowers or capabilities that we don't even know are there because we haven't read it in a comic book or seen it in a Marvel movie or thought about it before? We're going to be able to do those things as well. And when we do them, we'll say, "Oh shoot, you could do this too." Like, oh, we didn't know this existed. All right. So continuing, Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 5. For like as all things, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, meaning is before us. All right, it's apparent. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. So the way this world is gonna end is gonna be with a lot of signs and a lot of effects and a lot of wonders. The skies being filled with so-called UFOs, the chariots of Israel, the chariots of God, are signs. That's a great sign. Men having spiritual power is a great sign. War in heaven, where angels come down and fight against this devil and his technology, is a big sign. Putting electronic tags in people is a big sign. All right, a standard being lifted, it's a big sign. The prophecies being fulfilled, all these things, the world is ending, but it's ending in signs. All right, nuclear missiles flying, World War III, that's a big sign. And what does that tell you? That we're at the end of the world. So it says, verse 7, and every one that shall be saved. See, that's when people are going to be concerned about being saved. A lot of people are not concerned about being saved right now. They're concerned about music videos, and rapping and talking shit, you know, which, not saying that rapping is bad, okay, but it's just a mindset, and worried about the wrong things. People are worried about everything but salvation, because but they don't see that salvation is the most important thing. Salvation comes, you need to prepare for it, because if you're seeking salvation then, and you didn't lay any groundwork and the Lord didn't exempt you, you're not going to get any. All right, because you spent your time, instead of laboring for that salvation, you were laboring for carnality. You thought you had time. It says, so verse 7, and every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works. So what are we going to be able to escape? The hell that's coming. All right, the famines that are coming, the food shortages, you know, because it doesn't matter how rich you are. If there's no food to buy, what are you going to eat? It doesn't matter how fast you are. You can't outrun a missile. You can't outrun hunger. You can't outrun diseases. So how are we going to be able to escape these calamities that are going to come on biblical proportions? Well, through the Heavenly Father and His Son, because there's no other way. There's going to be no carnal way of getting delivered out of the hell that's coming upon the face of the planet Earth. But a lot of people don't know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, so they don't have that escape route. They don't know how to access it. They don't know how to tap into the Spirit. They don't know where to find that door. It's like, for those that have seen the movie Narnia, I think it was their closet. It was some door that you could open and it takes you to the other world. Well, to us, we're going to be able to step into the other world, but these people are going to open the door and it's going to be like a brick, a brick wall, and they can't go through. And when people starve, man, they commit cannibalism. And when you see cannibalism happening in front of you, and people are going to be scared when they start having the water. It was a wardrobe. Okay. When people start having cannibalistic thoughts, they're going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid of themselves, because it's going to be demons that are going to be in their heads. And you're gonna have people sitting there and they're gonna start thinking, yo, I haven't eaten in like 4 or 5 days. Why shouldn't we just eat the weakest person in our group? People are actually gonna start thinking like that, because when there's nowhere to eat, there's no food to eat, there's no water to drink, and all hell is breaking loose. What do you think they're gonna start doing? How do you think people resort to being cannibalists? You think they just get up and decide, hey, I want to be a cannibalist? No, they're forced and pushed into that condition through desperation. All right. And you're gonna have people that they do it once, they do it twice, and they're gonna get accustomed to doing it, like in the movie The Road. And they're gonna start looking for people and hunting people down to eat them. So you might be getting hunted to be eaten. You might get hit in the head, and you might wake up, and you might not know what's going on, but you look down and half your leg is gone, and people are around you eating, or they might offer you a piece of your leg. So it's gonna get brutal out here, man. And a lot of people are gonna be powerless to do anything about it. A lot of men are gonna be weak and powerless because they're gonna rely on their guns and their carnality. And a lot of women are also gonna be weak and powerless to do anything. Okay? And don't think that just because you can scream or cry, and that's not gonna matter to people in that time, man. Because a lot of people are gonna have uh, death angels on them, to bring about judgment upon people. And the scriptures talk about those that are gonna be beaten with many stripes. So if you are out here and you're not serious about this, you're gonna be a part of those that are gonna be beaten with many stripes. And you're gonna wish that you could just die, but you're not gonna be able to, because you're gonna need to serve your judgment. All right. So it says, and but the elect are gonna be able to escape. And how are they gonna be able to escape? By his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. So we believe that we will be able to escape. We believe in the Lord. We're doing the works of the Lord. So the Lord is going to look at all of that and weigh it, and Lord willing, have mercy on us. Because no matter how much works we do, we still feel like we're not doing enough. And that's why we keep on doing the works. No matter how much works we do, we're never sure of what's good enough. All right. Or if we've done too much, because you can never do too much. You could always come up short. And that's why in the book of Peter it says, give all diligence to make your calling and election sure. Why? Because you don't know if you've passed the measure you need to pass, or if you're below the measure. So the safest thought to have is that you're below the measure. And so you just keep on doing and keep on doing and keep on doing, so that Lord willing, when the time stops, you not knowing where you at, your mindset was that you were below the whole time. So you just kept on pushing. Because if you think that you are past the measure and you're really not, and you stop working and you're really below the measure, you're done. So we don't know when we've done enough. So we keep on doing until we can't do anymore. And then we hope that that's enough. All right. It says, verse 8 shall be preserved from said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So those that are of the Lord's elect have been sanctified from the beginning. So no matter what happens, the Lord is going to deliver his elect. They're going to be found worthy. But we don't know exactly who the elect is. And you may feel confident, you may have faith, it's good. But don't get overconfident to where you get complacent, you know? It's always good to keep the mindset of the lowest, sitting in the lowest seat in the room. All right, being at the bottom, being at the lowest. You may be above a lot of people, but if you have the mindset that you're still on the bottom and you still have a lot to learn, that's how you keep growing. If you have the mindset of a student, you're gonna keep learning and growing, even though you teach. You know, of course, you have the mindset of a teacher when you teach, but you always have the mindset of a student, because teachers are students before teachers. You learn before you teach, and even as you teach, you still learn more things. So it says, and we can learn from anything. Hey, the scriptures talk about looking at the beasts of the field. You know, you can even learn from them. Now, you would say we have a higher intelligence than them, but isn't it interesting how you can learn from a being that might be of a lower intelligence than you? Because there's wisdom in everything. But only those that are humble enough to open their eyes to it will be able to be privy to it and will be able to learn from it. But if you think you can't learn anything and you know it all and you can't learn from anybody, then guess what? You'll never learn. You'll never grow. You'll be stuck at where you at. Um, and so as it says, verse 9, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. And how have they abused the ways of the Lord? Well, what are things the Lord said to do? All right. The Lord said, what? We have to stop, number one, stop committing those wicked acts that you commit, the adulterous acts, the lineups, okay? The pork eating, you know. But it goes also past just physically keeping you know, obvious laws, but also the way you conduct yourself. You know, the way you conduct yourself is important as well. You may say, well, I'm not going off because I'm not breaking this law and that. But the way you move, the Lord can get you on that. Because if you don't have a righteous heart, if you have a wicked heart, but you're keeping all the laws, you're still going off. Because the Most High is looking at what's within. He's looking at the inward. Now, you may make a right decision, but in your mind, you may have wanted to make the wrong decision. And the Most High doesn't want that. He wants those that are pure of heart. Okay, those that are sincere. Now, you may have somebody that makes the wrong decision, but in their mind, if they knew better, they would have done better. So it goes past just what you physically do, but the spirit you carry within you, the mindset you have inside. You know, that's why King David talked about let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. So not just the things that I say, but the things that I think, the way that I move, how I look at brothers, you know, how I treat others, how I think about this work. All of these things matter because you may be doing the work and others may see you doing the work and others may think that you're serious, but in your mind you may not be serious. You may just be able to talk for a long time, or you just may be able to remember a lot of things. So, to the outward it looks like you're very on it, but you know that you're not giving it your all because deep down inside you're just doing whatever. And the Lord is the one you can't hide that from. And guess what? He will weed you out. And to others it may look like, damn, I thought he was doing good. What happened? Okay? Because once again, the Lord said his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. So those that have abused the ways of the Lord and they that have cast them away despitefully, all right, yo, damn demon, get you. Anyway, Salaki about that. So as it says here, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. All right, so Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to torment your ass. All right, in your destruction, you will be tormented. Doesn't mean you're going to go burn in hell somewhere and be tormented for all eternity. All right, but when you're starving to death, you're going to be tormented. You, Starving to death hurts. It's painful. It's actually painful. You know, so you're going to be tormented in that, and whatever other judgments come upon you. Watching your family get physically abused, harassed, assaulted, and then killed in front of you—that's tormenting. And then the Lord might leave you alive for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, suffering and constantly playing back those scenes in your mind before he kills you. Or he just has you stay alive barely and just keep suffering until the missiles come and fry you. The Most High can do that to you, man. You may lie down and think you're dead and then wake up again because you can't die. Because the Most High just keeps reviving you just to make you suffer. And then ultimately the missiles come and destroy you. That's the fear of the Lord, man. And you are gonna look that's why it says you're gonna be in a pitiful case. You're gonna look so bad it'll be like, damn, like you'd want to have pity on somebody like that. But it's not gonna be up to you. And like I said, I've said this before, man, we're not gonna step in the way of the Lord's judgment coming upon you. If the Lord sees it fit to judge you and you've been going off and you've been doing wickedness, we're not taking a bullet for you. We're not, especially not if the Most High is the one shooting it. Are you crazy? So it says here, um, and shall verse 9, and shall they be in pitiful case which have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. Because you started getting money, you started getting clout, you started getting the cares of this world, things started going better for you. And so because of that, you forgot about the Lord. You came into this truth and then you forgot about the truth. You're doing your own thing. You're in the world, but you think you're in the truth. You forgot about the Lord. You forgot that the reason you're here is because the Lord called you and that you had a chance to be cleansed of your ways. But you threw all that behind you. Once you were following the path of the Lord and a little bit of worldly temptation came, you completely forsook the Lord. When he had mercy, on you to wake you up, to open up your eyes. And now that your eyes were open, you used it for wickedness. And you forgot about the purpose why the Lord gave you this power to understand the scriptures. So what do you think is going to happen to you? The Lord is going to consider you a defect, and defects get eliminated. Okay? So that's really what a lot of people are. They're defects. They're defective. Because if you're not in this truth and you're not teaching the correct truth, then you are defective. Because the Most High didn't wake you up, so you can go and do your own thing. He woke you up to be a certain way. But he has you running around because eventually he's going to destroy you. He just has to preserve you to the right time. Um, Verse 11, and they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, so while you had freedom to repent, freedom to follow the ways of the Lord, you loathed it. Meaning it was you know the last thing you think about. You hated hearing that. You got mad when people talked about the truth around you. Okay, so it says what? And when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. So they didn't understand that the Lord, through His prophets, was reaching out to help you repent. You didn't want to hear that. You despised it. That's why you come at us. That's why you come at our elders, and you call us these names, and you constantly trying to just constantly just throw us under the mud somewhere. But you don't realize that you're really throwing the hand of the Lord under the mud somewhere. You're really flipping off the Lord, throwing the middle finger at the Lord, cursing out the Lord, but you don't see it. So what's going to happen to you? It says, when a place of repentance was opened unto you, so good was offered unto you, and you repaid it with evil. It says the same must know it after death by pain, and that's why a lot of people are going to suffer. You're going to be in pain. You're going to know what true pain is like because the Most High is going to put you in pain. Verse verse 13, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is and for whom the world is created. So it's important, first and foremost, what did the Lord say? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, because we need to seek the way to be delivered. All right. Now it doesn't mean that when people go off, you can't talk about it or you shouldn't worry about it, because if they're going off, they're going off. And if they can mislead the sheep, then we're gonna call it out. But our priority is salvation first. Okay. It says, and as it says here, whose the world is and for whom the world was created. So for those that are gonna be saved, those are the ones who the world was created for. The whole world, everything in existence was created for those people. And we're gonna have the power over it. Okay? Because guess what? The elect are gonna have the authority over the earth. And though those that are not of the elect are gonna come back in the kingdom as kings, and they're gonna have authority, we're gonna have authority over them because they're gonna be our children. So we are gonna have authority over them. Just like you can never be your parents' parent in one lifetime, they can never be over us. We'll always be over them because they're gonna come from us. All right? Meaning, if you are of the elect, if you let's say you're one of the 144,000, anybody that comes through your loins, who was an Israelite that died on the other side and comes through your loins, they're gonna inherit what you have. So you can take it away, not that you will or you would want to, but you're the one who gives them. Because your son is gonna grow and you're gonna say, hey son, I want you to have this, I want you to have this, I want you to have that. But ultimately, I'm over you because you're my son. All right. So your son is never gonna own more than you and then turn around and be over you. And the two-thirds or the non-elect are never gonna be above the elect, whether in captivity or in the kingdom. Um, Verse 14, then answered I and said, I have said before and now do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. So don't marvel when a lot of people break and a lot of people end up taking this Vanessa and a lot of people end up taking the charagma, because they will. You will see them, man. They will take the charagma. They will take the digital all. They will walk around with it like it's nothing. All right. Majority of people you know, there's gonna be more people that give in, more people you know that give in than people that resist. So expect that. All right. Not to say that all hope is lost for some of your loved ones, because some of them might resist. The Lord might give them that spirit to. But expect more people to give in and break than for them to resist. And don't trust, don't put your trust into their words. Nah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Oh no, of course I'll never do it. If you put your trust in their words and they do it, then you feel let down. But if in the back of your mind you were like, look, it's up to the Lord anyway. Whatever happens, happens. Then you don't feel that let down spirit, because you never were expecting anything from them anyway. Everything we expect is from the Lord, not from man. Because man, no matter how hard they try, they're not all the way reliable as the Lord is. Okay, because some things man just cannot do. Um, verse 16. Slack, I'll read verse 15 again, and I'm ended off at 16. I have said before, and now do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. Like as a wave is greater than a drop. So expect to see a lot of people break, a lot of people take it, but a lot of people are gonna die. All right, death is gonna be in the beginning. All right, so lucky about that. I'm about to wrap it up anyway, but just to end it off, if you have a daughter that's of the elect, the Lord is gonna put that spirit of numbness upon her to where she's gonna be able to just go, maybe flee, or her parents might be in a situation. The spirit might just be on her to just be out, and not feel any attachment or any, any feeling of sadness or anything like that. And she could just be out, and do what she got to do. And the Lord might just deliver her. All right. So I'm going to end it off here. Lord willing, that was edifying unto the elect. My phone overheated, so I don't want it to shut off again. All right. But, hey, man, you better be serious about this thing. Okay. Because the time is going to come where it's going to be too late to go back in time and do anything extra. All right. So with that, I hope you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Brakah Kudash. Until next time.